Today I want to talk to you about one of the most nutritious foods on the planet. And this is a food that's not only extremely nutrient dense, it's also really inexpensive. And another thing that's really cool about it is you get to see it from the very first step to the very end step. That is, you germinate it, you watch it grow, and then you eat it. And if we're going to talk about the healthiest foods, I'm always going to think of living foods. Living foods are foods that are still biologically active. They're most likely foods that have harnessed some of the energy from the sun. That in itself speaks very highly of any food when it's harvesting energy from the sun. And what that food is sprouts. And there's a variety of sprouts in the supermarket. There's things like lentils and buckwheat that you typically wouldn't associate with sprouts, but they're much more nutritionally dense when you sprout them. What I want to talk about today, though, is these little packages that you can find in the store, and they range from alfalfa, clover, fenugreek, daikon. These are the type of sprouts I'm talking about. They look like these small little threads, and then they have the green top. And this is the part that is harnessing sunlight at the very end, the last few days that you keep it by a window near sunlight. And you get this much. I got this much sprouts from 1 tablespoon of seed. And that's pretty good. I can put this on a few salads. I could put this all in one huge salad for a really nutritionally dense meal. I highly encourage everyone to utilize sprouts in their diet because it's just so easy and they're so inexpensive. And I want to just show you how easy it is right now. You'll need just a few things. A mason jar, and you can just use 1 jar for the whole process if you use just a little bit of seed. If you go up to 3 tablespoons, then you'll want at some point to transfer them to a bigger jar, and they will expand to the size of the jar. The longer you let them sit out, they'll keep growing and growing and growing. Some sort of seed. Today I'm just gonna go with clover. And you'll just take a measuring spoon. I'm gonna do 1 tablespoon, and if you look on the back, it says 1 to 3. I'm using 1 because these jars are small. Fill your jar up with water. You only need about 4 times as much water, like 1/4 cup. I just put enough in there where they're completely covered. Now, I let this sit for 8 hours. So you could start it in the morning and let it go all day, or you could do it at night and let it go all night. And once you've done that, you need something for the top. Now there's these little lids you can buy for mason jars that have holes in them that just screw on. They cost a few dollars. Another alternative that's very inexpensive, which is what I've done here, is buying some screen, just like this, and then you'll cut a square out, and then you use this ring for the mason jar lid, and that holds it in there nice and tight. And then twice a day, if you live in a really humid climate, maybe 3 times a day, you're just gonna rinse it and drain it. And all I do is I take these seeds, I hold it under water, make sure everything's rinsed, and then I let it drain. That's it. You don't have to hold it under the water too long. I use this dish rack for draining. It works perfectly for these jars. If you don't have one of those, sometimes you can even use a bowl, and you would just set the jar in there at an angle so all the water drains. You want to make sure that all the water can get out of the jar so it doesn't settle in there. And you just continue to watch them. This has already been 1 day, and you can start to see these little tails coming out of the seed. And it's gonna get to the point where they will start to have their little flower, the green part. And as soon as you see the green part, when you see the green little flower, that's when you're going to want to put it by a window so it can get a little bit of sunlight for a few days. You'll continue the same process, and once you have the green part, then you're gonna just do the last 3 days with some sunlight. It's not a big deal if there's a little bit of light on them while they're growing. I typically move them into a part of my house that has no direct sunlight, and then once there's a green part flowering, then put them by the sunlight. Sprouts are a perfect way to get your children involved with eating healthy, and it's also a learning process. They can see how something starts as a seed and then how it grows into something that nourishes the body. Well, I think that's pretty cool. And it's also just really awesome to watch something grow that you're going to eat in such a little amount of time. You don't need a garden, you don't need to be in warm weather. You can do this in your house as long as it's 60 degrees or warmer. My house is pretty cool, 60 degrees most of the time in the winter, and the sprouts do just fine. Very inexpensive. You can get 1 jar or up to 3 or 4 and all have them going. You can have different seeds going at a time. I like these big jars sometimes because if you want to do a lot of sprouts, just because you're in the habit of eating a bunch of them, when they fill this up, you can put them in here and they'll get much bigger. Once you have everything, then all you need to do is buy these seeds every now and then. One of these will last you a long time. And you can see that when you look at these, it says raw, vegan, and non-GMO. They're organic, so you can find seeds that basically the healthiest terms I can think of: raw, vegan, non-GMO, organic, living food. Sprout seeds are all the above. And they have high concentrations. Most of these seeds all have high concentrations of vitamin A, lots of B vitamins, vitamin C, and there's a lot of minerals as well. That ranges from zinc to magnesium, calcium. It just depends which seed, but I guarantee that no matter which one you choose, it's going to have a high concentration of vitamins and minerals, and almost all these also are at least 25% protein. Let me know if you're gonna give sprouts a try or if you're already sprouting. I'd love for you to start exploring how easy it is to make your own living foods at home. And I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video and give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.